Captain, incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Not a great plan.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hey there, we're those Sci-Fi guys. This is Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes, different lives, different jobs, but a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and it's daylight savings, and the sun is now setting post 7 o'clock, just the way God intended.
Well, that's yes. So that threw a monkey wrench into the sleep plan. Although it was nice to drive home while it was still light out today. That was not something I've been dealing with recently. Well, with last week as an exception, since I was leaving between 2 and 4 every day. Supposed to leave at 2.
Yeah.
Most days I didn't end up leaving till 3:30. So a couple of days I was at my job for 12 hours.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I
I had
remember
to
those 12-hour days.
I had to swap back to the opening shift for a week because my counterpart decided to move on to another location, and they allowed her to do that since it was an intercompany. My frustration comes from the fact that they allowed her to do that without having a solid backup plan in place for us. So I have had to eat shit for 2 weeks and more coming.
Was it really 2 weeks?
They dropped the news on me 2 weeks ago, and my counterpart spent half the week splitting between our office and the other office, and it's like, oh, I don't work here anymore. You suck.
So,
it just I wasn't getting the support I felt I needed. Felt like the company was just shifting her over to the new spot without really leaving much up. It left a lot falling in my lap, which I addressed with my bosses, my frustration about that and how I'm being asked to cover a lot of stuff. They're like, well, no, you're right. We are asking you to do a lot more. Look, we're going to try to help out. We'll try to find ways to give you support, but we do need you to do the early shift. I'm like, I will do the early shift, but I need to have an end time to it. I can't just do it indefinitely. You offered me the early shift. I said no. It took me 6 months to get my life to where I really needed it to be after the last time you guys flipped our schedule, when we had gone 2 weeks opening, 2 weeks closing, rotation, so that we could, do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And when they said, hey, we really need permanent launch and close, I said, okay. But, when I said I would be willing to help, I also said, this is a limited time offer. I didn't put it like that, but I'm like, look, I appreciate the offer. No, I prefer to stay on my, the late shift. They said, okay, can you launch for a week or two? I said, yes, but I'm going to need some clear timeline. Okay. So we'll see. It's just been kind of chaos. So
rough. It's been rough. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and I lost an hour of sleep as well. So we're both in the same boat. So exact same problem. It's weird how that happens.
You're such a jackass.
Anyway, I don't have much to report here. Not on the home front. Anyway, it's just same old, same old. I got to go to Sacramento this weekend for the boys robotics tournament. But did I tell you that? Oh, no, I didn't, because we didn't record that week easily. Son got second place in robotics competition on the coast. So it's fun. It's fun seeing a robot from the Central Valley kick butt. A robot that's sponsored by like feed companies for cattle or agricultural, industrial hardware companies and whatnot, and they go up against these robots that are sponsored by Apple or Google, LinkedIn, all the businesses in
congratulations
Silicon Valley.
to your progeny. Congratulations.
So
that was awesome.
It was fun. It was fun. Seeing robotics competitions like this, it really fills me with a lot of hope for the future. Not that I don't have hope for the future, but it's a reinforcement. It's a reinforcement that, and this happened with the band competition as well in the fall. Just seeing that talent of these young minds being able to, number one, perform these wonderful acts of music at the band competition, and seeing these minds put together these amazing machines that do all these different complex functions. Number one, on their own for a limited time, and then they have to coordinate with each other as they go into remote control mode. And there's a lot of talent in this country, and it's just the future is bright with the talent that we have, and we just need to foster it. And we're well on our way doing that in a lot of places. So, very uplifting feeling for me. So not just because I was proud of him and his team, but because I got to see all of that. So that was fun. And we go to Sacramento this weekend now too, so we can see it again. But anyway, yeah. Anything you want to bring up before we dive into? I think the picture gives it away if you're watching us. Speaking of happy times.
I mean, it's a Marvel movie, or TV show, so any happiness is short-lived.
All right. Well,
I was not expecting that.
Okay. Spoiler alerts from here on out. We're here to discuss Daredevil Born Again, the first two.
I just wasn't expecting to see Matt Murdock smiling genuinely.
I know. First of all, that's a departure from the character.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing anything that looked like this when I watched the original series.
It was not.
I mean, maybe a few times when Foggy and Matt were hammered, like when they would flash back to their college days, and they're like staggering around drunk.
This is true. I did find that there was a little bit of a stark contrast in this first scene. I think it was like the first 10, 15 minutes of the show.
Like the first 10 minutes, it's like happy. You walk in, they're leaving, they're walking down the street, they're happy, they're joking, they're smiling, they're ribbing each other, they make it to the bar. In the bar, you've got a cop who's like, but I'm like 3 days to retirement. I'm like, oh God, he's gonna die.
He didn't, by the way, guys. He didn't.
The cop who's this close to retirement always dies.
Yeah.
And it's just going, everything seems to be going nicely. Foggy seems to be hitting it off with this, I guess, ADA.
No, I'm sorry, prosecutor.
Yeah, but she's with like the district attorney's office.
Yeah.
And Matt and Karen are kind of hovering around a few items, you know, and it just seems like, oh, it's kind of nice. This is a bar. This is like,
It felt genuine, really. It was really nice, and that whole
yeah.
time, I knew that something was going to happen because I heard that there was a major plot twist at the very beginning. So I'm like, I didn't know what it was though. So I'm sitting here going, okay, which one's going to eat it? Which one? Which one?
Clearly, it's going to be
It,
Daredevil.
it was very clear. It was very clear. Like this, all these nice things that we just described, there was this sense of foreboding just crescendoing like LA Confidential.
Well, this isn't a rom-com or, something, like this was, it's going to build up to something horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah. So and then we see Foggy, step out, and he's on the phone with Benny, who I guess is Benny Bullseye?
No.
No. Who is Benny?
Benny's like a witness or something, or client who's like a witness to something, and they have him stashed at Foggy's place.
Yeah. Well, Matt didn't know about it. But
he was a little foggy on the details.
Yeah. So Foggy's trying to talk him down, and Benny's saying, "No, he's just outside. Oh my God, he's gonna get in." And then a moment later, as Karen goes out to check on him, Foggy talks to Benny, and Benny goes, "I'm sorry. He just wanted to know where you were. I'm sorry." And then along comes Bullseye, and just shoots Foggy right in the heart. Blood spatters on Karen's face. He falls down.
Blood spattering on Karen's face is basically how they started the last series, though.
I was just thinking the same thing. She woke up. We were introduced to her with blood on her as she wakes up from being passed out on the ground in this apartment with a dead body there.
Now, forgive me. Wasn't she in True Blood? Is that just what she likes? Is that what Deborah Ann Woll likes? Is like, she likes being smeared with, movie blood? Is that it?
I don't think it's a matter of her liking it, because Jenna Ortega talked about this too, because she was in Scream 5 and 6, and
The Wrath of Khan.
She was in something else where it required to have blood on her face. Oh, she was in The Babysitter, Queen. Yeah, the second Babysitter movie, where that's a lot of killing.
Of course,
and
that's
there was
exactly
a lot of
what
blood
you
in
want to
that.
hear.
So she talked about how she noticed that a lot of the movies that she gets cast in requires blood on her, and she's like, I don't know if like people just like the idea of seeing blood on my face or something, but it's really weird. Like, so, and what's her name? The woman who plays Karen. Did you watch True Blood? We saw the first like 4 seasons, I think.
I didn't. I've seen episodes here and there, but
it was an envelope pusher. That's for sure.
Well, I seem to recall Michelle Forbes being a recurring role in there too.
Second season. Yep. She gets killed at the end. She plays a Mynad.
Well, it's a vampire show, so everybody dies at some point.
Yeah. Well, and that was the thing. We had just had our son when the 4th season came out, and there is a scene where a mother gets killed at this vampire convention from an explosion, and you see that a young child that she took to this vampire convention, like frantically shaking her mother awake, crying inconsolably, and we're like, nope, click, we're not watching this. Same with Dexter season 4. Couldn't do that. Not with the mentality we had after just having our first child. So it's weird how that happens. Your brain just like rewires itself in that very short amount of time.
There are things I'm willing to watch. And then when it comes to like harming a child, all it does is fill me with murderous rage.
I know, right? Or
I mean, it's supposed to,
yeah.
but I watched a TV show. It's a relatively violent Western where some dude just rode his horse over a kid. Like,
dude, American Primeval?
No, that was pretty brutal too, though. Kids died there too.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the Yellowstone spinoffs.
Oh, okay. Gladiator had that scene too. Ugh.
They kind of did a little cutting away. It wasn't very graphic.
You heard it though. You heard it. And you saw the hand get swept away out of the screen violently. So, yeah, no. that was rough.
Still, it's a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah.
It doesn't hit you over the head with it.
But back then, before I had children, I was more of a sociopath, so I could handle it. I couldn't. I can't handle anything remotely close to it anymore.
I mean, I technically can handle it, but it makes me want to go find a rifle and like shoot through the TV in the vain hopes that I shoot this bad guy. But it doesn't work like that.
No, it does not.
I still haven't figured out how to properly hook up my NES zapper to my flat screen.
That would be
That's
nice.
got to work.
There was one night after a football game, an SC football game, that they were projected to win and they lost handily. And it was this huge upset. I sat there seething, and I had the remote in my hand because I was about to flip the channel because I wouldn't be able to handle the post-game interviews on the field because they were going to focus on the other team. And for that one split second, I looked at the remote and I looked at the TV. And I was like, you know what? This TV's not young anymore. I think I could just throw this at the TV and we'll just buy a new one tomorrow. Like, I was this close. I'm not saying that's a healthy thing, by the way, but I didn't do it.
It's not.
I
Trust
didn't
me,
do it.
It's not.
I didn't do it, but I was this close. Like, so we've all had that trigger. So anyway, Foggy's dead, and we get to see a pretty delightful one-shot fight between Daredevil and Bullseye, which I didn't watch the season 3 of Daredevil on Netflix, which this is a continuation of, by the way, as far as I can tell.
They make it feel like it.
They really do.
And I never saw season 3 either.
They mention how Fisk crushed some guy's head with a car door. They talk about Ben Urich, that he killed with his bare hands.
His niece is the
journalist. online journalist, yeah.
Oh.
So that was a tough moment for me.
I knew your uncle. He was a great journalist.
Great journalist.
By the way, Vincent D'Onofrio, the speech pattern he's affected for this, it makes you hang on every word with him.
Yes. Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'd almost like to see him face off against prime 1967 William Shatner. the stilted speech pattern.
Interesting. I wonder if he studied Shatner to do that.
well, it's not. There's not like the random pauses. It's not like Shatner where it's like a long pause and then like rapid fire. It's
No.
all very measured.
Yeah, and you can still take that cue from Shatner and turn it into something that the Kingpin
There is
does.
a vigilante on the wing.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
I gotta tell you, he just brings it. Like the glances, the little bit you get of Fisk in Hawkeye, Echo, it's all building to this point. And they even reference Echo a couple of times.
Hawkeye. Well, yes, they
No,
did.
mentioned,
the
like
show.
where he mentioned trying to mentor someone
Yeah.
and that not going well.
And
And they've mentioned his eye, and he does have a slight scar. In certain light, you can see where they have the scar where she shot him in the face.
And Matt does go to him going, "Didn't she shoot you in the face?" And he goes,
He
yes.
laughed.
Yeah, he laughs.
That was a really great scene. It reminded me of the diner scene from Heat with De Niro and Pacino. It's the first time they've ever acted opposite each other. A lot of people forget that they actually acted together in a movie. They made a big deal. The first movie with Pacino and De Niro. Technically, no, because De Niro played young Vito Corleone in Godfather 2. Vito Corleone is a young man as he's also making his way up through it. Well, and basically
it's inconsequential to what your point is. Your point is a good point.
There's a fantastic scene in the movie Heat where Pacino is the cop and De Niro is the crook. And Pacino knows that he's got something planned, but he doesn't have anything, and he doesn't have enough on him. But basically, there's one, De Niro's basically telling him that I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and Pacino's basically telling him that he's going to be there waiting for him, and it's like, well, you do what you need to do, kind of thing. It was fantastic, fantastic.
Could it have been any other way? Like, I mean, the writing would have had to have been good too, but even if it was mediocre writing, they would have made it work. They're just that good at acting.
The cast of that movie was beyond through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Natalie Portman plays Pacino's stepdaughter. Val Kilmer is De Niro's like right-hand man. And he's married to Ashley Judd. And John Voight's in it as like, I think he's kind of a mentor to De Niro or something like that. I mean, and it's loaded too. There's even more people when you go through, but these are just ones off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, going back to Daredevil.
Sorry. Yeah. But again, it brings me back around to this scene in this coffee shop with Fisk and Murdoch. And by the way, this whole, when they killed Foggy, I'm like, oh, because everything seemed like they were kind of at the end, like, all right, Foggy dies. Are they going to like rewind like a year and you're going to have to make your way to this point? I kind of thought that they were going to go, especially when they started 1 year and then it was like later.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, they're doing that time skip. I kind of thought that, it just, they're coming out they're going, looks like the three of them are going to celebrate. There's cops in there, it's a bar. You're like, oh, well, this guy's getting ready to retire. So I'm like, okay, there's stuff I'm missing. Right? So I'm wondering if they were going to rewind it, because we've seen that in TV and movies before where they like get to like the critical point of a story and they put it right at the front and then they show you how you get there.
Yeah. No,
I thought
and
they do
there was
that, and then they would work you all the way up to that point for a couple of episodes. And like the back half, I'm like, oh, Foggy's dead. Oh, well, clearly there's going to be like, they're going to skip back to the whatever leads up to this. And then how this gets resolved. That they're going to do that, right? Nope.
no,
Nope.
valid
They just,
interpretation, but no.
they
They
just skip right ahead.
And you know why they did this, right? Because
Because
first of all,
he failed returning the Mighty Ducks. I
oh
know.
my God.
They're
Okay.
holding it against him.
Wow.
By the way, tell me that isn't weird, seeing him like standing shoulder to shoulder with Charlie Cox when he at like 12 and 13 years old, he towered over all these kids. It's like he stopped growing.
Yeah. No, it never crossed my mind, man. I gotta be honest with you. not a detail that ever bothered me. So
Don't get me wrong. Eldon Henson as Foggy is fantastic.
yeah, he's great.
You know,
Was great. He's never coming back.
his name is in the credits for the whole series, so there's going to be either some flashbacks or something. We're going to see more of them.
Don't rule it out, but here's my interpretation of what they did, because both of his friends, Karen and Foggy, were not supposed to be in Born Again, and it wasn't until they filmed like half of the original script of this show, and Foggy looked at it and said, "This is unusable," scratched it all, and then rewrote the entire series. And then that's when they brought in Karen and Foggy again. And
Kevin Foggy, huh?
Oh, Foggy, nice. So
That's
this I think was a little bit of a soft reboot. And I hate to overuse that term, because that's literally what Born Again was supposed to be. And
no, this was kind of a hard reboot.
It was a little rough.
There was nothing soft about any of this.
But I don't think we're going to see much more of Karen. Maybe at the end we'll see her. But I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. But the idea of doing flashbacks with Foggy,
she shows up in. When I watched the trailer, she definitely shows up in more scenes than I saw in this episode.
You can't trust that.
Because no, you
they
can't.
They show scenes in trailers all the time that don't exist in the final work.
Right, like the Hulk running in, the big charge in the Battle of Wakanda. It was a great fake out, by the way. Great fake out.
So no, valid point. But can't trust it. So.
Well, she's still alive, so it's more feasible.
It's more feasible. I didn't get the impression we would see more of Foggy after the death, because we might. I'm not saying it won't happen.
He's got to show up at some point, because his name has been in the credits for both episodes, and he didn't physically appear in the second episode. Which leads me to think that we're at least going to get some flashbacks, because they've done that before in the Daredevil series.
Mm-hmm.
So it would not surprise me if there is, especially if how he gets killed comes back. Like, there's clearly more there.
Yeah. And
I mean, you don't just have Poindexter, which, by the way, I kind of like that.
The guy who plays Bullseye.
That's his name. And that is the character's name, is Poindexter. It doesn't sound like a Stan Lee one. It wasn't alliterative.
So
Benjamin
I thought it was
Poindexter.
pretty neat. That opening fight was fun. I thought it was good. I liked the realism. I liked how they hurt each other.
I kind of surprised just how bad Daredevil came out of that too.
Well, I mean, that goes to show, again, we didn't see season 3 of the Netflix series. So, I mean, there might have been something about that. I didn't think that I needed to watch season 3 leading into this, because I was convinced it was going to be much more of a reboot than what we saw.
Yeah, I think I'm
Where
gonna
it'd be-
start. I think I'm gonna try to binge season 3 just to
Yeah.
help it make more sense.
where it would be questionable if this show even took place in the same universe as the Netflix. In my opinion, there's no doubt it takes place in the same universe now.
No,
but
they have so many ties to it.
yeah.
All you need to do
including
is
the
just drop
church that he would go to.
church, Ben Urich.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of references to things that seem to have clicked back over from that. They definitely make it, and this is the feel is the same, like the theme, the approach, it's all very similar. The only difference is at this point, Matt Murdock is not dirty just going into work. Like he wasn't. And then
And he's
working
also
Hell's
he actually
Kitchen.
yeah, he lives on like the Upper East Side now or something,
Oh,
and he works for a really high powered firm. And
it's his firm.
no, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, I don't think so. Hold on.
Oh, for the
Let's
love
see.
of-
What firm is Matt Murdock working for after the 1 year time jump? I probably should have specified Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah.
There we go. And Daredevil Born Again, which premiered the last update that explicitly details Matt Murdock's exact job or situation after a 1 year time jump within the series. However, posts on X and general speculation. Ah, jeez. Matt Murdock isn't Daredevil anymore. Vanessa, the new crime boss. Fisk, the mayor. Karen left New York City. Bullseye still alive. Okay.
How?
Well, it's ambiguous,
He
so we
got
don't know.
thrown off a 6-story building.
Well,
No,
that just tells me that Bullseye is like some kind of low-powered superhero.
Yeah. So he convinced Kristen to leave the DZA's office and come and work with him. He hired Cherry to be his investigator. He's running the show. It's like, oh, it's like Murdoch McDuffie.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's him and Kirsten.
They grew that thing real fast. I mean, I could see him joining a firm and then becoming partner. And that may have been what it is. I don't know. But then his name wouldn't be first if he joined the firm. Well, whatever. Anyway, we'll find out more. Anyway, he's doing well. And Fisk notes this in their meeting at the end of the second episode. I don't know. Most of the first episode was really Matt coming to terms with his change in life, and it was really setting up, Matt, trying to move on, and Fisk coming back into the fold and wanting to become mayor of New York. Okay, I'm okay with that. And then at the end of the episode, basically Fisk wins the election, and then we
remember
move forward
he and Matt have had this conversation before he wins.
Did he?
It's episode 1. He's like, it looks like you're going to be mayor.
Okay, you're right, because the end of episode 2.
I am. He
right.
basically told him, I'm watching you.
Yeah. And
Which
Fisk is like, we're going to get rid of vigilantes, and you can't put on a spider suit, and, reference to Spider-Man, which was nice.
Yeah.
Something that they could finally do now. So I like the entire idea of Fisk wanting to kind of... I didn't watch Echo. Is there some kind of thing that he realized he could do something good in life, or...
Well, yeah, he kept trying. He was trying, I think, he was trying to make amends, but he was still also crime bossy, and still,
right.
End up having to basically get his ass kicked. But
Okay. So there's that. And I like the idea that he wants to clean up New York and make, make it, less crime ridden, have things like, start working again. Little leery of what connotations that could mean. I'm like, but so far pretty fine. And I like that they brought Vanessa back. That was good.
She's very critical to this version of Fisk.
What do you mean?
Like if you go all the way back to season 1 of Daredevil, the original, is that like the dude whose head he crushed in the door was because he felt that this guy embarrassed him in front of Vanessa. Like,
that's right.
Vanessa is like his kryptonite.
Yeah.
But she's also influenced him in many ways.
Yeah, this is true.
From dress to appearance and motivation and whatnot. Not fully. He's still a volcano of rage under a simmering veneer.
I really liked the second episode. I thought it was very well done. Opening up with some random guy coming into the subway, seeing one guy getting beaten up by 2 other guys, and it looks like it's some kind of robbery, and that's getting violent. So this guy jumps in. What was his name?
Hector Ayala.
Yeah, Hector Ayala jumps in and starts defending this guy, and he gets thrown
As you
inside.
notice, his fighting was very restraintive.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing haymakers and whatnot. He was like jumping in and like putting dudes in headlocks and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes ahead and as he moves, one of the guys comes to jump at him, and the guy, he just moves inadvertently, not knowing that he's about to be jumped, and the guy just jumps in. One of the assaulters jumps in front of a subway train that's just barreling through, wasn't even going to stop. And then the other guy pulls out his badge and gun and goes, "Freeze NYPD!" And like, oh crud! Like what? Okay, why were they beating up this guy? I'm intrigued about how this whole thing is going to play out, because these cops were dirty, apparently.
Yeah, they're
so
they're dirty as field underwear.
Yes, and Matt is he runs into Ayala at the precinct.
He's hearing him getting his ass beat in holding.
Yeah, and he's like, well, something's wrong here, and so he decides to represent Ayala, and they he needs to find this witness, because if they don't find this witness, then they have no case to be able to, outside of a he said scenario, which is exactly what Jerry said.
And nobody's gonna believe the cop killer, right?
Exactly. I thought,
and this episode gets progressively worse.
Well, yeah. So take into account that the NYPD hates Kingpin. They really don't want to work with him. They think he's dirty as hell, which he is. They're not wrong.
Of course. You know what? I really kind of like the chief of the police commissioner.
The commissioner is a very well done character so far. I think it's really good. I liked how he shows up at the police officer's funeral after the ceremony. And the commissioner's all like, heck of a statement showing up after the ceremony. And, Fisk's answer is actually a good idea. He's like, I didn't want to distract for the families involved and the family and friends that were involved here. I felt it would be intrusive.
He didn't want to make it about him, which.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, fair answer. Good answer. Showdown was great. And the commissioner's just like, you're going to go down. You're going to go down, and we're not playing ball. So, and while he's then he calls to meet the commissioner who wants to tender his resignation a few days later. He's talking about a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. He's like, what was that place that had the best Philly cheesesteak? Gino's. Yes, it's a shame it no longer is open. But I found a new place.
D'Angelo's. I'm like, wait a second. Is this a shot at my sandwich shop?
I know, right? I thought the same thing. The sandwich chain in the Northeast. I couldn't tell. Do you know it's been almost 30 years since I had a D'Angelo's sandwich.
It's been 2 weeks.
Nice. And he basically, shows, I also found something else there. And he lifts up the wrapper, and there's a picture of, I didn't quite catch it. It was his granddaughter.
No, it's an illegitimate kid, I think.
That's what I'm thinking. There was something, he didn't want anyone to know that person existed.
Yeah.
And he basically just lays it heavy, like, can I count on your cooperation? Out here I am doing my Batman impression now. And
he's like, all right, Fisk. I love how he just calls him Fisk or Kingpin. He doesn't call him Mr. Mayor.
No.
The contempt literally drips from this guy. It's so much, it's forming icicles on his mustache. That's how much this police commissioner fucking hates Wilson Fisk and is so open with his contempt. It's really good. I really enjoy it. I'm like,
yeah, and I love how he just relays that moment of like, all right, you got me now. All right, Fisk, you got me. Like, he doesn't say that, but he conveys it in such a well portrayed manner. I loved it. I loved that. And then he leaves, and then Fisk wraps up the sandwich, goes, this is the worst sandwich I ever had. Or the sandwich is disgusting.
I think that's what it was. Disgusting.
Yeah. The sandwich is disgusting. I loved it. It was great. It was a very good classic moment. Like,
it's also kind of funny too, because anytime you see Fisk eating, it's always very proper.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
Even when he makes his own food, it's very proper. It's always like he's eating with utensils, and it's always clean cut. And then I'm like, is he eating a fucking sandwich?
With a
it really
bib on,
seems
by the
out
way.
of character. Yeah,
with a bib
seems
on.
a little.
So.
Right. I'm like, well, I got to admit, the traps of power, but I don't think I've ever seen him eat with his hands.
No, you're right, and that's a good observation, because that did feel a little.
I've seen him do
place.
many other things with his hands.
It did feel out of place, but it was well played. And see, that's good writing right there. That's good. I like that. It's interesting. And no fists were flung or thrown. It was just an intellectual showdown. And Fisk won in that instance, which was great. I like that kind of writing.
Well, it was a chess move. And in a game of chess, the commissioner is definitely concedes defeat only on this point.
Yeah, for now. Yeah,
he didn't.
Exactly.
He didn't slink out of the office with his head down. He's like, "All right, you motherfucker."
Yeah, he wasn't beaten yet.
Like,
he just had to.
You win this round.
Exactly. And then Cherry's able to. Oh no, Matt's able to track down the witness. How did he find the witness, by the way?
He followed the cop.
Oh, he followed the cop. That's right. Who figured out where he was, and so, Matt runs to get to the witness, and this was good. I really liked this. Runs to get to the witness. Witness is like, I don't want to do anything. He's like, they're coming. They're coming to get you, and I need you to go out the fire escape. And like, so that's a tense moment. Cops are saying NYPD, bang bang, open the door, and Matt unlocks it and just stands in the middle of the room, just smiling with his cane in front of him as the cops come in, and they're like, "Oh, where'd he go?" Like, and they're like, "He's the lawyer." And now, I'm going to say this because I enjoyed the scene, all right? But I disagree that this was a good move on the cops' behalf. Okay? They basically were going to eliminate
Kill
Matt.
the lawyer. Yeah, that's not shady at all.
That's not a good move, guys. They should have just slunk out of there. Like, and obviously it shows that they were pretty desperate because there's something going on with these guys that made them make this poor decision to try to kill Murdoch. And boy, did that you saw bone come out of one of the cop's arms. That's interesting.
I'm pretty sure he killed the lead cop. The way he flips that dude at the last time and the way he lands, it's like
it could have happened. Yeah,
I think he killed him. But here's the thing too, right? They could get out of there. I mean, but you see clearly when they first assault Matt, you watch as blood from Matt hits the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't kill the second cop, how the fuck are they going to explain the blind ninja?
That's why I don't think he killed him. That would complicate the matter way too much for the case and the writing. So I think the guys survived. Matt leaves. They recover, wake up, and they're like, "Oh crap! Now what do we do?" So Matt's going to start being followed by these cops, which is going to be interesting. But if he had killed them, too much dirt, too much blood on Matt's hands, and at that point, even though they were dirty, and he would have been justified because he was literally fighting for his life.
They were going to kill him.
Yeah, and the whole time he's like, "Guys, don't do this, don't do this," and then he unleashes the fury. So,
asked politely to stop.
Yeah. So they have their witness now. They're gonna, hopefully they'll be able to, because Cherry was on his way over as well, and
right.
Yeah, that's why I don't think any of those cops died.
Well,
Cherry's gonna help.
No, Cherry. Matt sent the witness to meet Cherry.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So there's it's very nebulous.
Well, think about it like this. The witness is completely necessary for the case in order to get Ayala off. But if they have two dead cops at the witness's apartment, that's going to soil the whole case in and of itself.
True. But here's the fun part. We haven't even mentioned the fact that when Cherry went over with Kirsten to talk to the wife, Hector's wife, why is she not in court? Cherry finds that he's White Tiger, finds his box of shit. And then Matt literally has to go and disclose this to the judge in like the most logical thing that you'd ever see that never happens in any of these movies. If anybody discovered that this dude was Batman, oh, we've got to bury this. Got to keep it a secret. And Matt Murdock literally has to go and sit with the district attorney and the judge and go, it's prejudicial for people to know that he's the fucking White Tiger.
Yep. Well, they did the exact opposite of this in a very famous case in New York recently. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to go much more into it, but it was basically the opposite, where they told the defendant, where they told the defending attorney, they can't bring up this guy's record of valor because they were only focusing on this single day in this one instance of this case. And therefore, all the other records of his valor and high performance are irrelevant to this one moment. And I'm like, the argument could be made like that. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that. But I saw that happen here in this episode. I'm like, huh, okay. So, do we know the White Tiger?
No, he hasn't. I don't think he's come in yet.
Okay.
And
But there's
unfortunately,
mention of
he
an
will never
amulet,
appear again.
right?
Unfortunately, the actor who plays White Tiger died of cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm looking him up. Oh, that's Frank Castle. Frank Castle's gonna be in this, everybody.
Camar de los Reyes, Puerto Rican actor. He died in December of 23.
Man.
Christmas Eve of cancer.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Goes to show how long ago they filmed this, by the way. Man.
He did perform on stage with Patrick Stewart in The Tempest.
Nice. I want to know who the White Tiger is. Like, what's this amulet all about?
He's a vigilante. He's a hero vigilante.
Street level.
Yes.
Hector Ayala.
Exactly.
Let's see. Background. Hector Ayala, Puerto Rican native from New York, was the first character to use the White Tiger identity. He gained his powers from the mystical Jade Tiger amulets, which granted him enhanced strength, agility, and martial arts prowess. A student at Empire State University, he became a vigilante after discovering the amulets following their use by the Sons of the Tiger. Okay. He appeared in Spectacular Spider-Man. His tenure ended tragically when he was framed for murder, and during his trial, he was shot dead by police while trying to escape. That was in Daredevil, volumes 38 through 40.
Ew.
Volume 2, numbers 38 through 40. Okay, and then there's two other White Tigers, but we're dealing with the first one. So interesting. If I had known more about Marvel lore, I probably would have understood that, because we would have known Hector Ayala is the name of the White Tiger. How about that? See, this is sometimes why I get a little frustrated about it's. I mean, Marvel is just so deep with information that it's just impossible to know all this stuff. It's almost like being a Star Trek fan now, getting into it, rather than having the 30, 40 years of knowledge that we already have. You know?
Yeah. I'm learning that my daughter has occasionally expressed interest in learning about Star Trek, and I just want to like plop her in front of like the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and go, but will she get these references?
She would probably understand most of it with
How would
TNG
she-
and Deep Space Nine.
How would she not love Trials and Tribulations unless she saw Trouble with Tribbles?
Well, here's what you do. You show
Trouble with
select
Tribbles,
episodes of you show select episodes of TOS, and if she wants, she can go back. Not all of them were bangers, so
No, and one of the things I had decided to do was I was going to choose like 10 episodes from TOS.
Maybe just do 5 or 4. Make it more chewable.
I mean, we did watch Balance of Terror.
Okay, yeah. So there's that.
We have not yet got to Troubles with Tribbles.
By the way, we need to do an episode about the first half of season 3 of TNG, because that is, I think those like first 11 episodes set the entire stage for what TNG is supposed to be.
We
and they
discussed
were all.
it.
I know, but we need to go more into it.
In our year 3 review, where we decided we were going to do season 3 of TV shows.
Oh, yeah, we did. Never mind.
And then when we did The
was that?
Hunted, which is right in the middle of this stretch as well. So I like it, but it is well-trod territory.
Yeah, that's true. Stargate, for crying out loud. I'm just looking. The
quote
best
Barf,
and worst.
When you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
Nice. Okay. Well, all right. So my grievance was the fact that I didn't know who Frank Ayala was. If I knew that character's name, I would have known what his. Sorry, I'm thinking of
You're
Frank Grillo.
confusing him with the Punisher.
He looks a lot like Frank
Castle.
No, I'm thinking of Frank Grillo, the guy who played Crossbones.
Crossbones.
Yeah, because he actually they have a passing resemblance to each other.
Yes. I've seen this guy in a lot. He's played a lot of different roles. He's had recurring roles on TV shows I've liked. So I've seen him before. He's a pretty solid actor, and I'm disappointed. I already like what I see out of the character of Hector Ayala, who, by the way, in this version is a decorated veteran.
Yeah, that's true.
They did call that out there, so
man, it's even more of a thing now then.
What?
Well, he's a decorated veteran. They mentioned that in the show, but they can't really mention that in the trial because Matt himself kind of stopped that from being allowed.
He did in the arraignment when he was going up for the bail hearing.
Okay, well, it's already on record then. And then
that's where you first hear it. You're like,
yeah, that's right. Okay, so he didn't corner himself. Wow, good writing.
Who knew?
Yeah.
2 episodes in, and the writing's been solid.
You don't understand, DT. When I come across something that has decent writing, I do
understand.
It replenishes me so much. It doesn't take a lot, but if I come across something that is well done, I can live off of that for a long time, quite a few months. I was riding off of, season 3 of Picard wasn't that well written, but it was good enough that it had me coast for 9 months on that show, on the good vibes from that season. So, yeah. What are you looking up?
Oh, who some of these people are. Like the actual actors and actresses.
Well, okay. So, things that I really liked about this, I like that they went back to gritty. They have swears. They show blood. They show violence. They basically went back to their roots of Netflix.
Well, yeah, it's basically a continuation.
Well, they weren't going to do that, and then Feige, after seeing that the first iteration, was like, nope. And then they go and they hire a Netflix showrunner from one of the shows, and then they hire the director of was it Jessica Jones? And that's how they started getting back on this path. So they just went to the Netflix well. And the style's there, the darkness is there. I like it. The CGI in the first episode, the first battle, was a little, but it's fine.
Oh,
it's not gonna.
That was too high.
Was that really that bad?
Yes.
Wow, interesting. Now I know how to defeat you. So yes, it is CGI, little shady.
I have this red button here that just solves my problems.
There you go. So I'm okay with that. I like Charlie Cox is just right back in the swing of things. He felt a little out of place when it came to She-Hulk.
I think that was kind of the joke.
It was. That's the angle that they were going for, but it still felt a little weird. And then that ending with She-Hulk, where they just like have him jump out of the sky, in a comedic fashion, like that's not Daredevil. That's not what we do.
Look, and I know people seem to like the yellow Daredevil costume. Just a yellow costume for a guy who kind of lurks in the darkness just doesn't seem right.
No, it's a little pick-me kind of
thing. But people are like, oh, they're bringing out the iconic yellow Daredevil costume. I'm like, eh.
And then he does the walk of shame with his
that
shoes
was funny
over his
as
shoulder.
Shit, though. It's just like, good morning. I'm sorry. I laughed my ass off. That was funny as shit.
I know. It was this. Yeah, I mean, it's fine, but
I think it's just
it's
an
nice to
indictment
see
of,
this
of
now.
L.A. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's Wednesday.
Yeah. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I've never seen the Walk of Shame play out. Not in school, not in any kind of like downtown LA situation. I did see in Miami one. That was interesting. We shared an elevator with them on the way down.
My senior year of college, I had this on-campus apartment that kind of overlooked part of campus. I had a nice view of part of campus, and I could see part of the street where a lot of the off-campus houses were. And if you were up at the right time on Saturday or Sunday morning, you would see some people migrating from the houses towards the dorms, sometimes vice versa.
Oh,
It's like,
boy.
oh, okie dokie.
Yeah. So, what did you like about the first 2 episodes of Born Again?
Well, and it's been a long time since I watched the Netflix shows. It's been 4 years now. 2020, maybe 2021, I think, is when I was really watching, gearing up for the Defenders. But it felt a lot like it.
You watched the Defenders several years after it came out, right?
Yes, because I didn't have Netflix. The only reason I
Okay,
saw Daredevil and Jessica Jones was from bootlegs while I was deployed.
I just needed to resolve that timeline in my head. So,
Yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, I wanted to. I just didn't have Netflix. So
I'm not blaming you for it. I just needed to clarify it. That's all.
But
a real pain in the ass that you had to do that, though.
I didn't have to. I just chose not. That's where I wasn't choosing to put my money at the time.
And, well, I'm just saying it's a pain in the ass that you didn't have that availability of the
Right.
Netflix at the time. So, moving on. Sorry, I interrupted you.
But it very much felt like the hallway fight scene where it's dark, it's gritty. It's not watching. Even some of these other Marvel scenes. It's like, Cap's taking a beating, but he's back up, and I can do this all day with a little blood on his lip, maybe a little blood on the brow. Like Matt Murdock is like limping into these fights.
He's stabbed multiple times.
He's got like 7 of these knives sticking out of him, and I'm like, what the fuck is this armor supposed to protect?
Well, it protected enough, so to speak.
Well, they made a big deal about it when he finally got that armor at the end of season 1 of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy who made it was
on his coat.
Right. So it was either this stuff was stuck in Matt's costume that was making it more difficult for him to move, I guess.
I thought about the same thing, and here's what I did. You ready? Hand wave. Just, it's fine. We've seen him stabbed multiple times in the past, like without armor on. So by the hand.
That brutal fight scene he had with the leader of the Hand in season 1, where it's like
the mace with the mace with the hook on the end.
Yes, I mean, like, how are you? Like, you're gonna die. How?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I thought of that. So I'm like, okay, well, it's called plot armor. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just wave it away.
So it was, but this was all very reminiscent of it. So, first off, awesome job. They made it feel like a continuation. They made it feel like, oh, we took a few years off. There was COVID. There was a strike, but we're back now. And it did. It kind of felt like that. And I gotta say, I like Foggy with the beard and the short hair.
I liked it too. He looked good.
I did not
the 10
like
minutes
him
that he was
wearing
on the
that
show.
red suit.
What?
Foggy's red suit.
I don't. What? I don't know.
When he got shot and he bled. I was not a big fan of his red suit.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. That was a bit of a reach. You know that was.
Always.
There's agreed. Do we do grades on this? Or where do we think it's going to go?
We wait till the end of the season when we do the grades.
Okay. Where do we think it's going to go? We're going to watch this whole season, right?
Yes, we're going to do what we try to do, and we haven't done a very good job of lately because you usually bail on some of these things after like 4 episodes lately.
Okay. I will watch the first episode of Starfleet Academy, and then I will not watch no more. I will watch the first episode.
So you will watch more. You double negative yourself.
I will watch no more after the first episode of Starfleet Academy. And then I will watch the first episode of season 3 of Strange New Worlds. And then I will probably watch no more of that. But
what if you like them?
Well, I'm not going to like Starfleet Academy. I'm not. I know I'm not. It's going to be awful. It's going to be like Section 31 with teenagers.
Okay, fair enough.
And Strange New Worlds, they had me in the first season, and they completely like disrespected Spock. They have no idea how to write for Spock, and they made fun of him. They made him a fool. They contradicted the way Vulcans work and how he wanted to strive towards Vulcan perfection. And the musical episode and the lawyer episode with number 1, that was just a complete farce. It was terribly done. The logic in it was awful. By definition, she committed fraud by saying she was not an augment in some form or another in her Starfleet application. So done. There is no trial. Like, she admitted it to it. It's done. She's out. Like, the writing was incredibly dumb there. Like, I made the point way back when.
Fair enough.
So
it was their measure of a man, and it didn't measure up. I get it.
It didn't measure up at all. Not in the slightest.
So, I am surprised you didn't like the musical episode, since you do like musicals.
You know what? My daughter is getting into musicals now. Like, she's really liking it, and she refuses to believe of my musical theater background. She refuses to believe that I know all these musicals. And when I started singing, she goes, "Okay, Dad," because she saw Wicked in the movie theater, and she goes, "Okay, Dad, what's the opening line in the first few what's the first few bars of Wicked?" I'm like, "Well, it's good news. She's dead. The wicked old witch is dead. The wickedest witch that ever was. She's dead. Good news." Her mouth just flops open. She's like, No, you didn't know that. You looked that up. I'm like, how would I have known to look that up if I didn't know you were going to ask this question? She's like, no. I'm like, baby doll, I know more about musicals than you. And it's your job to learn more than I know. So she's on a quest. So, yeah, I like musicals. Love music. Legally Blonde, great musical, by the way. Strange New Worlds, awful.
If Wicked was written by somebody from Boston, it wouldn't take place in Oz.
What?
It would take place in Southie.
Yeah, it would take. I'm sorry. It took me a moment. I had to put together the Boston and the Wicked and sorry, I'm not surrounded by New Englanders anymore, so it takes me a moment to get back into it. So
instead of a green witch, we'd have the green monster.
The monster, yeah. But they would love the green monster. So it'd be Glinda and her blonde ass over here ruining a good time with the green monster. So
they'll be saying we're off to see the goat, the wonderful go to Foxborough.
Foxborough.
Or maybe they're off to see Big Poppy.
Yeah. Oh my God. You got to write this down, man. There's something here. There is something here. It's very esoteric.
Wicked, a Boston musical.
Has a very limited, a very esoteric and limited appeal, but it could work. It would do gangbusters. So, okay. I look forward to watching the rest of Daredevil. I wasn't looking forward to watching the rest of Agatha. In fact, I didn't. Like,
we know.
Did you?
Yes.
You did. So.
I'm typically not a quitter. I push through these things. Sometimes to my detriment. I'm not going to lie.
My time's more valuable than that.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
No.
Dude, I've got so many projects spinning right now. I'm almost done with my outline. And then I got to start the book. And I still have to do the audio book that I'm in the middle of recording. I've got this thing. Got robotic stuff. I've got my daughter doing all the things that she wants to do. She does all the things, by the way. That's what she wants. All the things. So, and I've got a flippin' dog that doesn't want to leave my side through all of it.
That's what a dog is supposed to do.
I never had a dog that was like that.
Clingy?
My golden. Clingy? My golden was clingy, but not to me. Well, then I really didn't have many other dogs.
Look, what you need is you need a beagle.
Hounds. I had a bad experience with hounds. No, can't do that.
If you have a beagle, you can captain a starship.
Always the references. Always with the references.
Don't try Yiddish humor. Doesn't work with you.
Oh, was that Yiddish? I didn't. What?
Always the references with this guy. He
See,
does this. He does that. You know.
I didn't do that. I said always with the references. Did I throw anything else into that? No. No. Plausible deniability. There you go.
Look, this show is off and running, right? It's everywhere. It's on everybody's feed. What's the reception? So far, it's got an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's good. You know what sucks, though? No one's watching it. Got 7 million views last week. And, you know what Acolyte got? 11 million.
This is a much superior show.
I completely agree. And I don't know what it is about Disney Plus. They really screwed themselves over with what they were trying to do earlier. But hopefully this will pick up with good word of mouth and everything. So, we'll see.
What episode do you think is the first time you see Vincent D'Onofrio, as the Kingpin, just blow his stack for the first time?
You know what? They're going to do the long play on it. I think they'll have a couple references with Vanessa's lover. I think it'll be on Vanessa's lover. Because remember, she took in a guy while Kingpin left her. So,
how would you feel if your husband was chasing after a 20-year-old girl, follows her halfway across the country?
Well, his adopted daughter. I don't know. They didn't mention it, so I don't think she had any problems. I think she just felt abandoned. Which rightfully so.
Perhaps.
Rightfully so. The blip did horrible things to everyone. So, and that's the explanation, right? The blip caused him to veer off course. That's the understood idea. They never mentioned it explicitly. But he was a very different kind of Kingpin in Hawkeye.
Yeah, he looked like the comic book. He was
And
heavier.
then-
He had the suit.
Yeah, but he was a very different kind of Kingpin. You know, working the dealerships and whatnot, and so.
By the way,
I think-
Vincent D'Onofrio is not wearing. He's really happy because they didn't ask him to put on weight. He's got like some super high tech fat suit that he's wearing.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't have to gain weight this time.
Yeah.
I'm really happy about that.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it comes out. Anything else?
Dude, I'm really hooked because the writing is solid, and when you get solid writing, it's like you want to watch it.
Agreed.
Are there some little nitpicks here and there? Sure, but you get Fisk having to sit across from the niece of somebody he strangled and murdered with his bare hands. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, this is very uncomfortable to watch because
Yes.
you're all sitting there like, you're like, get out. Oh, and the dude you talk to get in? Yeah, that's Tony Soprano's kid.
Oh, really?
That's Gandolfini's son.
That makes sense.
Is the guy who keeps saying, "Yeah, you rock, Mr. Fisk."
Yeah, I like how he's like slowly becoming more refined.
Yeah.
So you can see in that kid, that character, they're already doing like mini arcs on some of these characters, which is good. That's a good sign. It's a good shows multifacets here and there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, that you've got, in essence, you've got, in addition to all the superhero stuff, which is kind of in the background, you have
Very much so.
This is almost very grounded, right? Aside from a mention that the White Tiger has a magic amulet and that Matt has like preternatural hearing and whatnot, everything else is very. It's very much like a crime
realistic.
drama.
Yeah. Would you agree? I have always said when I first saw The Dark Knight, I walked out of the theater going, "Wow, that was not a superhero movie. That was a crime drama." Would you agree that it's on par with what the Dark Knight was? Like, there wasn't a lot of superheroing. There was a lot of
He's the world's greatest detective, isn't he?
Yeah.
Wasn't there detective work?
There was some, yeah. Well done. I mean, The Dark Knight is just The Dark Knight. It's amazing. I've only seen it twice. Not because I don't want to ever see it again, but because the more I watch it, the more ruined I will be to it.
Well, it's heavy.
It is heavy. It's not something you want to throw on a sunny afternoon to feel better.
Yeah. It's why we talked about like movies that are like really good that are also hard to watch, like Saving Private Ryan. It's a fantastic movie. There are some movies that are remote drops.
Shaking.
That one is one that you have to be set for, right? It's not like, Son of a Woman. Oh, drop. Tombstone. Oh, drop.
Father of the Bride Part 2. Remote drop. Watched
Brad
that
Paisley.
yesterday. Yeah. So, all right. Well, we look forward to.
I'm looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it?
I totally am. Very much so. And
It's
a rare condition, folks. Rare condition when that happens.
Oh my, yes.
So, anything else, DT?
Hey man, I can't wait for the next episode. When does it drop? Tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I think around Ooh, midnight your time, I think.
This and Andor are the two most anticipated shows of the year for me right now.
Yeah, that's coming out May?
Next
April?
month?
Ah, yeah. Soon.
They've
I
been
knew it was
dropping.
soon.
They've been dropping the trailers.
Okay, well, looks like we're doing Andor too. So,
We are.
all right.
Another
well,
gritty, pseudo-realistic Disney Plus program.
yeah. Well, on that note, everybody, you guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. I'm PS McKay with those sci-fi guys. It's out there.
And I'm DT Cavman. And while this goes against the laws of nature, it is foggy up here on the high ground.
Those Sci-Fi Guys is an independent broadcast by Alpha Site Productions, produced by DT Cavman and PS McKay. Music courtesy of Epic Music Waves and Tropical House Music. For more information on upcoming episodes, follow PS McKay on X at PS McKay or go to thosesci-fi-guys.com for past episode information. You can follow us on Spotify, so head on over there for our latest episodes. Don't worry, you can still find us on Apple. We are also live on Rumble, and you can find us on YouTube with live video podcasts and Facebook, so be sure to leave a like and a comment. Just let us know how we're doing.